Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is your boy Pup. We are back with the quarterfinals of the BBR-D League, and we are facing off against Crep. We faced her in week 3, had a 6-0, so I decided to choose her again. I was going to choose to play against Soulblaze, but who, the #1 seed, ended up picking them, so that's totally fine with me. But if I'm going to be honest, I didn't have very much time to prep this week. It's been really rough. My computer also broke the day that I was supposed to play this. So I didn't end up getting all the Pokemon that I wanted, get all the sets that I wanted as well. So basically, top 3 mons on my team are the exact same that we brought versus Crep the first time with the Scarf Regidrago. We have defensive Galarian Moltres, the Resto Chesto. And then we also have I'm pretty sure we're like Trailblaze Sword Stance, or maybe just Sword Stance on the Ogerpon Cornerstone. My Sneasler is Choice Scarf this time with the same moveset like U-Turn, Dire Claw, CC, and Throat Chop. We have a Shuckaberry Terra Steel Iron Moth, which is really good just to make sure we're always able to eat an Earthquake. I think we even eat it from +1 Ments. Then we have Red Card on our Great Tusk. Decently defensive, but still has a lot of offensive power in this game. They have a Terra Fairy Ments, which makes a lot of sense. I figured either that or the Alchemy would come in this game, just to be annoying for the Regidrago that absolutely destroyed her in the first round. But we're just going to lead off with our Sneasler. We have a free U-turn versus this Pokemon. They could potentially be Choice Scarfed, and if they are, then I'll reveal that I'm Choice Scarf first turn. But the way that they let it off makes me feel like it's Choice Scarf. They brought Booster Energy Speed last time, the more defensive set. So Choice Scarf makes a lot of sense here to try to catch a Sneasler if I'm running like the exact same set. But we're not, so we're just going to U-turn out here. She's going to take a while on this first play. But yeah, we're in a decent position right here, but it's hard to switch into this Pokemon, especially if they want to just get a Volt Switch off on me. If I want to switch into my Moltres and they Volt Switch, it's going to be a little bit annoying for me because it's going to put a lot of damage onto me. But also, as we see U-turn, I think that their team this week seems a lot more standard than what we saw last time. Because we see the Serperior, we do see the Blaziken as well on the team. No Weezing or Umbreon, which is really interesting for me to see. But my team still breaks it decently well. The Milotic is also a good bring into me, I think. But I should be able to decently beat it. Their team easily just gets put down by my Iron Moth. It's unfortunate that we don't have a poison move because the Terra Fairy on Salamence would be super easy to get past if we ended up having it. But basically we just need Donphan to die and then we're in a good spot there. But they Volt Switch out, which is a little bit annoying. It does give us a decent amount of health there, which is fine. But it would have been a little bit nicer if we got in on a psychic move that they were going for. But it is what it is. They're gonna bring out the Donphan here, and like I said, we need this Donphan to just get chipped in order to have any real chance with my Iron Moth, because Iron Moth just destroys them after the fact. We do need some chip on Blaziken because of close combat into my Terra Steel will be able to destroy me. We do just under 50%, which is nice. And they Ice Spinner here, which just crits and knocks me out. If they didn't crit, we would have been able to live and potentially rest ourselves up later. I mistakenly thought I was a Citrus Berry set. I think I did prep a Citrus Berry set, and I was like pretty upset after the fact, seeing that I got crit on that Pokemon. Because Citrus Berry, Ice Spinner plus Ice Shard would not be able to knock us out at that range. But I wasn't. That was just one of the sets that I thought about bringing, but I ended up bringing the exact same thing as the other week, so it is what it is. But we get a free swap into Ogerpon here. If they are Ice Shard, they should break our Sturdy here for sure, as we can potentially just set up and sweep all over their face. And a Trailblaze is not actually going to be able to one-shot this thing. They're just incredibly bulky, which is pretty annoying for me. But not the end of the world at all. They are going to Ice Shard. Does a good chunk, but doesn't 2-hit KO me at all, even if they get another crit, because they're going to live with just a little bit. If they're Custap at this range, it's really tough for me. But I'm just going to go for the Trailblaze. Make sure I'm faster than any sort of Scarfers that they could have on their team. Basically think I already would, but puts us in a good spot. And, lets us do a lot of damage to basically their entire team here. With Ivy Cudgel being really, really strong versus them, especially if we were able to crit them back, which it's a high crit chance move. So, a crit on anything would put us in a really good spot. They could also potentially go out into the Iron Crown at this point, but they might get hurt by Stomping Tantrum. It would do a lot of damage, but Tachyon Cutter would easily be able to revenge kill me. especially like I think that they're the scarfed offensive set and not more defensive. But they're going to go out to Salamence. They're going to show to be Intimidate, which is really interesting. I figured a Moxie set made a ton of sense versus me, as they did last time, but we're just going to click Ivy Cudgel, try to get a crit on them basically is what I'm going for at this point. Playing pretty tilted at this point because I've been working on my computer for like 3 hours trying to make it work, and I had just lost a really important game right before this as well. So, you know, just on tilt already, making sure that I'm playing with the best mindset, of course. You know, just unfortunate that it happened to be a really bad day for me. But, you know, if they Terra Fairy here, it's not the end of the world for us. It means that they might be a lot, or very scared of my Iron Moth. So they're going to throw off that Terra. If we get a crit here, we might even just be able to knock it out, depending on how defensive they are. Because I'm assuming this has some sort of HP investment on this Pokemon. They do a good chunk with the Ivy Cudgel there, and they're going to Earthquake. This shouldn't even knock me out, looking at it, and it barely does anything. If we were Synthesis on this set, we'd honestly be in a good spot. And also, if I Sword Stance there, plus Synthesis, I would have been in a great spot. Might have just been able to sweep their entire team if I had Sword Stance at this point, if I'm going to be completely honest. I actually don't think there's anything that they could really do about it. But we ended up being Stomping Tantrum on the set instead of that, which makes sense to try to hit the crown. But they're going to withdraw. So I get a lot of damage off on that Pokemon, which is really nice, but they're going to go into their Iron Crown. We get Ivy Cudgel off. We're -1, so it's not going to do too much. If we crit there, would have probably been in range of Stomping Tantrum. But at this point, I don't switch in very well since I don't have my Terra Steel off. And we're just going to go for a Stomping Tantrum, maybe get a crit or something, or maybe they overpredict and Volt Switch, but they're just going to Psychic, which is a good play versus me. There's nothing really that I could do about that. If I still had the Galarian Moltres, I would have been able to switch it in and potentially get a rest off versus that Choice Scarf Pokemon, which would have put me in a much better spot. But we get to go to Iron Moth, and we are Toxic Spikes on this set, so we can set them up. They don't have any Absorbers or Spinners left on their team since the Donphan is basically dead. It's not at this point, I don't think, but it basically is. Like, there's nothing that it can do. Is it dead? Yeah, it's dead. We ended up knocking it out at this point. We're gonna get our Terra Steel off, which, you know, obviously they expected it. They're gonna go out to the Milotic as we set up these T-Spikes. So I'm assuming this could be Marvel Scale on this Pokemon, so T-Spikes not the best versus that, but it's all good with me. We're just gonna go for a Discharge here, and if we end up paralyzing them, that would be a good point. You know, we also could go for the Fiery Dance, predicting them to want to switch out, like fearing an Energy Ball. They go to Superior or something like that, which I did think about a decent amount here, but I think Discharge is a little bit better. They go into something with Boots, potentially a Salamence, Superior if they want to be Boots on those Pokemon, or even Blaziken if that's Boots. A Paralysis on those would be just incredibly awesome for us. Basically need it to get back in the game. But at this point, I mean, Iron Moth really destroys a lot of their team, as we see Choice Scarf Milotic, which is really weird. But great cook by them for sure. Definitely caught me off guard here. But, you know, if we get damage on this Blaziken, we can realistically win the game with Iron Moth. They don't have anything that actually just beats me. Since we are Morning Sun variant, we just beat them 1v1 with basically every single Pokemon on my team. Especially with the T-Spikes, being able to chip stuff down. So they're going to go out to the Superior, so I should have made the Fire Dance play. I thought about it, you know, I could have just gotten a Attack boost as well, which could put me in a great spot. We're going to Discharge, does nothing, but they do get poisoned, which is pretty good. And at this point, I'm thinking potentially Glare might want to come out, but at this point, I just got to attack this Pokemon. Superior is a huge threat to my team, and I'm decently specially defensive, but they do show to be Light Screens. So they're most likely Light Clay at this point. Probably just basically one attack like Leaf Storm plus a Dual Screens and Glare is what I'm expecting at this point. And unfortunately, we don't get a good enough roll to be able to knock them out on the next turn, or knock them out with a poison on the next turn. But I can't let my Iron Moth get poisoned because we absolutely destroy their team. At this point, we don't even die to a Focus Blast from a Scarf Iron Crown. So I really just want to keep this Pokemon alive. And Sneasler and Regidrago are both looking like they're not too good. Regidrago, as soon as the Mence is out, does look very, very solid. So maybe I should have gone out to it, try to force the Ments to come out here. But I do predict the Glare, we go Sneasler. Fine for this Pokemon to be paralyzed. It would be nice to have the Scarfer faster than basically everything on their team though. But at this point, I mean, we should still be faster than this Pokemon. We are not. I thought about that wrong. They get up their Reflect. We're just going to U-turn out. So dual screens being up is really, really annoying for me. Hard to do anything. And like, it's hard to see what Pokemon to go out to here. If I go to Great Tusk, I can, get rid of my red card. If I go out to the Regidrago, it just invites in the Salamence that can potentially Roost or Dragon Dance. So I'm going to go out to Iron Moth here. They're going to go to their Blaziken here, which is the scariest Pokemon because clicking close combat versus me just destroys me. They do show to get poisoned, so they're not Lum or Boots, which is really nice. We're going to start getting some chip damage on this Pokemon. But it's a tough spot because close combat is just so annoying for me to deal with. And if Moth goes down, I probably just lose the game. But if they Swords Dance here, I can also lose the game, so I have to be really worried about that. They also could be a special variant and hit Great Tusk with a Power Up Solar Beam, which makes a little bit more sense now that that they're not Boots or Lum. But I feel like if I go hard Great Tusk in it and they go for that Solar Beam, then they can also 2-KO me. I should be EV'd to live most variants of Solar Beam. Especially if they're mixed and not very special attack invested, because I do have some special defense investment. But we predict the close combat and go hard Sneasler, so a good play from me. But once they get the speed boost, I think that they are faster than me, but we're just getting a little bit of chip on this Pokemon. They do get the speed boost, that's totally fine. We're still in a decent spot at this point, seeing that Iron Moth can potentially win the game, but it's really tough when they have the Focus Blast, Choice Scarf, Iron Crown in the back that I'm thinking is just Choice Scarf for sure. They also have Choice Scarf on the Milotic that outspeeds me. We'll let our Pokemon go down. We know that they're not Choice now because they click Close Combat plus Earthquake. And I'm just going to go out to Great Tusk here. Potentially, if they want to switch out, we can get a free Earthquake on any Pokemon on their team. But if they attack me, I guess we're Headlong Rush. But if they attack me, then we're going to be able to knock out one of the other Pokemon on their team, which could be good. If we get the Salamence here on their attack, if the red card brings out, I think it's like 1 in 3, as they crit me there too, which is still important. But if we bring out the Salamence here, we actually probably can just win the game with Regidrago. Because at this point, they have basically no answers to Dragon Energy. So if we pulled out the Salamence there, we won the game on the spot. But we don't. And we're just going to knock out the Iron Crown, which makes my Iron Moth look really good in this end game. But I mean, the Blaziken is just a huge threat for me now. If we weren't so chipped on this Pokemon from that crit, I would definitely want to save my Great Tusk. I still probably should have, to make sure that I don't just straight up lose to Blaziken, because every time this Pokemon comes in, a Headlong Rush basically gets a kill. But I choose to sack it off just in case they want to flip turn again. I should be able to live, I was thinking, since we do have great just natural physical bulk, even though we're at -1. It's a Milotic, they don't hit too hard, so they do want to do that, that's fine. But I probably should have switched into Regidrago. Even if they click Ice Beam on this turn, I should have been able to live and Choice Scarf, but they go for the Ice Beam. Good play by them. And at this point, it's really tough for me to win this game because the Blaziken just has too much health for me to be able to beat them with a Moth, and they're still dual screens up, which makes it just even harder for me to do anything. But I know they're Choice Scarf into Ice Beam here, so I'm gonna go out to Iron Moth. Honestly, if I was still playing to win, or I don't know, just thinking about it later, definitely should have doubled out to Regidrago here on the obvious Blaziken switch-in. With the screens up, they should be able to live too, plus the poison, but it's going to be really close because the screens are going to wear off this turn. So if we got a crit back on this turn like they got their 2 crits earlier, then I win the game for sure. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This Iron Moth just 1v1s the rest of their team with Shucka Berry to get around the Earthquake on the Salamence. So it's, do we knock them out here? I also could have swapped straight out to my other Pokemon, try to get some damage off, but they would get a speed boost. we don't get a crit, we don't get the roll to end up knocking this Pokemon out, and Blaziken is just going to be able to destroy me. I mean, it's going to go down to poison here, so bring it to a closer game, but Regidrago comes out, and I can't lock myself into a move that knocks out Salamence and knocks out the Milotic. A lot of ways that we could have won this game. I could have just played better. I was playing very, very tilted and stacking stuff, but I also got crit twice. Unfortunate bringing out the not bringing out the Salamence on the Headlong Rush, which would have easily died. So we show that they're Lum, so if I went out to this Pokemon baited in their Salamence earlier, maybe I could have chipped them down with a poison a little bit more. But we're just going to throw off Earth Powers. Maybe if we get a special defense drop here or a crit, we would actually be able to, you know, bring it down to a 1-0, but they're just going to roost on me. A little bit of BM, something I didn't really appreciate in the time. But I was just really tilted in this game. Really disappointed in myself. I was really hoping that I could win this league, try to make it up to the actual BBR, but maybe we'll get a call from them in the future. Don't think we're going to be in the next season, but who knows? I'm hoping to eventually prove myself and show that, you know, I can compete with the best of the best, which I feel like I did this season. 3 losses total, 2 of them definitely influenced by a lot of hacks. I know a couple of my wins had some hacks in them as well, especially against Mario. But, you know, this and last week's losses just feel really bad. And then the other loss I had was during Thanksgiving when I ran 5 choice items. So I feel like I competed really well in this league. And I just hope that the next one can be a little bit better. I don't even know what we're starting up soon. But we're going to start up some more stuff soon to, you know, replace the BBR. Oh, we have PWC coming back. I'm really excited for that league. And hopefully we can compete in there a little bit better than we competed in here. Try to get a title. I'm trying to get 3 titles this year. And it's not off to a great start, but still could happen. If you guys did enjoy my BBR-D league run, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. You know, it's hard to lose like that, especially against an opponent that I felt really confident in beating. I beat them 6-0 earlier in the season, and you know, just didn't play my best, just had a really bad day. But I'm going to keep my head up. I'm going to try to win a couple more leagues this year, and hopefully we'll be able to get there. But thank you guys for all the support. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.